Members of the Afghanistan National Institute of Music landed safely in Lisbon on Monday. Portugal has granted asylum to 273 members of the acclaimed music school and their relatives. For them, it's a new life free from fear and violence.
I'm 18 years old and I didn't have a peace in my life yet.
Shogufa Safi is the conductor of Zoha, an all-female orchestra within the institute that was based in Kabul. They have played at some of the world's major concert venues, from New York's Carnegie Hall to Amman's Royal Opera House. When the Taliban took over in August, the institute's founder and director knew he had to get his students out of the country. The Islamist insurgents banned music under their previous regime in the 1990s. There have been reports of radio stations in parts of Afghanistan being forced to stop playing music. The institute's members escaped to Qatar with the help of various donors before making their way to Portugal. Even though the future of music looks bleak in Afghanistan, Safi's heart is still set on going back.
My huge dream is that one day go back to Afghanistan with high knowledge, with more knowledge, and to go back to Afghanistan and teach the young generation there. It's my huge dreams, and I believe that one day I will go back to Afghanistan and teach the young generation there. Yeah, it's my huge dream.
This rescue operation is the largest of a self-contained Afghan community since the recent Taliban takeover. The institute's plan now is to reopen in Lisbon next year, and once they settle in, the group hopes to return to performing on big stages.
Amazon is being investigated for a deadly warehouse collapse after tornadoes tore through the American Midwest last weekend. The U.S. workplace safety watchdog has 6 months to look into whether workplace safety and/or health regulations were violated. 6 workers were killed after a tornado struck the building in Edwardsville, Illinois on Friday evening, with peak winds at an estimated 150 miles per hour. Several employees told Reuters over the weekend that Amazon managers had directed workers to shelter in bathrooms after receiving emergency alerts on their mobile phones. At least one worker died there, according to his coworker. Meanwhile, some of the workers said they had their mobile phones, despite what they believed to be a company policy preventing them from having them at work. Amazon says there was no such policy, and that employees were told to shelter in place at a designated assembly area near a restroom at the front of the building. At least 45 Amazon employees made it out safely. Amazon has pledged to cooperate with the investigation, and officers are already on site at the destroyed warehouse.
We'll work with our allies and partners to defend the rules-based order that we built together over decades to ensure the region remains open and accessible. And let me be clear about one thing. The goal of defending the rules-based order is not to keep any country down. Rather, it's to protect the right of all countries to choose their own path, free from coercion, free from intimidation. It's not about a contest between a US-centric region or a China-centric region. The Indo-Pacific is its own region. Rather, it's about upholding the rights and agreements that are responsible for the most peaceful and prosperous period this region and the world has ever experienced. That's why there's so much concern, from Northeast Asia to Southeast Asia, and from the Mekong River to the Pacific Islands, about Beijing's aggressive actions. When we say that we want a free and open Indo-Pacific, we mean that on an individual level, that people will be free in their daily lives and live in open societies. We mean that on a state level, that individual countries will be able to choose their own path and their own partners. And we mean that on a regional level.
Nearly a year after the United States kicked off its COVID-19 vaccine rollout, rising death tolls, hospitalizations, and mask mandates are taking over the country yet again. Over 200 million Americans, more than 60% of the population, have been fully vaccinated, according to government data. Yet as winter approaches and more contagious variants spread, the country's COVID-19 death toll has reached 800,000, according to a Reuters tally.
Oh yeah, my daughter was just in here last week from COVID, and she lost her baby on it. So they're saying that the COVID not gets the young and the old, but it kills the unborn too.
Larry Goff is a COVID-19 patient at San Juan Regional Medical Center, one of New Mexico's hardest-hit hospitals. Medical staff are struggling to cope with the surge in COVID-19 patients and deaths, 94% of which remained unvaccinated. Yet that hasn't changed some people's minds about the vaccines. Cheryl Sanders' husband, Vincent, is currently being treated for a lung infection brought on by the virus.
No, I still would not be vaccinated. He probably would still choose not to be vaccinated. I don't think we'd be here today had they checked for the infection. I mean, yes, he has the COVID, and that's where it started. But if they had known he had the infection last Saturday, they should have never dismissed him from the hospital.
As with other states with high vaccination rates earlier on in the pandemic, COVID-19 immunity has waned in New Mexico, pushing it toward the top of the rankings for new cases.